and welcome back to FiddleUP. I'm Emerald Ray, and today we're going to be learning a beautiful little mazurka called Shoe the Donkey. Now, a mazurka is a Polish dance tune, which is somehow, as these things happen, found its way into Irish music. And so there are mazurkas in Irish music, and some people call them Irish mazurkas, even though they're totally from Poland. So there's a lot of that in all of the traditional musics. But in Ireland, they have a funny way of really adopting things and go, oh yes, this was always Irish. So some people call it an Irish mazurka. It's just a funny little quirk. So I actually don't usually play mazurkas. In fact, I actually don't know this one very well, so I'm very excited to teach it to you because it's giving me a good opportunity to really get to know this one. I play this one a bunch in sessions. But for some reason, mazurkas have passed me by, and I don't really understand why. I've played a ton of Irish music, and it's a funny thing to not have any of one type of tune, but it's not really that common. So if you go to an Irish session, they're not going to be playing, they might play one mazurka maybe. So, you can use them to substitute as a waltz sometimes, although I think they go a little bit faster. But anyway, long story short, this tune is kind of new to me as well, so we can bring our beginner's mind to this. We can both be learning this one at the same time. So this one's in G major, and we're going to start off with a little pickup on the open D string. So open D to the G, which is third finger on the G string, on the D string, sorry. And then I'm heading up to my B, which is a first finger on the A string. So that's open D. Third finger on the D is G. And then B, which is a first finger on the A string. And I'm just kind of doing a very simple bowing, down, up, up. So it's short, short, long, long. So we'll do that just a little bit slower. So that's the first couple of bars there. And then we're going to go straight into the next little phrase, which is really easy. So that's the same thing, D, G, B. And then I'm just going to put my second finger down on the low 2, and then back to the 1, and then open A. So far we have. Nice and easy, right? Let's try that again. And then the next phrase is that, but with different fingers. We're going to just kind of follow an D major chords here. So we're going to do an open D, and then an F sharp, second finger on the D string, and then open A. So that's a D major chord there. D, second finger on the D, F sharp, and open A. So we're going to follow that same pattern. So that's open D. So that's D, F sharp, A. So that's just a B. That's a first finger on the A string. that's a B, and then open A, and then G, third finger on the D string. Nice and easy, huh? That is pretty much all of the A part. Isn't that exciting? So let's try that second part again. There we go. So the whole A part sounds like this. And repeat. There you go. Excellent. So it's very simple bowing, nothing fancy. In fact, there's no kind of slurring there. I think I did a little bit of a double up bow at the end there just to get myself where I need to go, but it's pretty, you know, it's pretty easily structured where you just do it that. So that first beat is the down beat. So you have pick up, and here's beat 1. So I'm doing a lot of down bows on those first beats. And so if I am doing a little double up bow, I'm just trying to get myself to get on the right bow to do a down bow on that first beat of the measure. So from there, we're gonna do a little from the G. We have to get up the A string here. So we're gonna play. So that's a G on the D string, third finger, open A, and then B, and then low 2, C. So that's the last note there. And then 3 little pickup notes. And that's up, down, up. And then, so the first phrase of the B part sounds like this. Oh, sorry. So it's a little skippy even for me today, apparently. So it's a third finger on the A string, so that's D. And up to the G's, low 2, second finger on the E string. And then an F sharp, first finger on the E string. And then back down to open A. So I'm doing a little double up bow here just to, like I was saying before, get myself on the right bow, or on the down bows on the top of these measures here. So if you don't want to worry about this, you don't have to. If you just want to do straight bowing or whatever bowing, then and just get the notes down first, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to try to get a little bit of a better bow going, I would highly recommend doing this little double up bow. So we're going to do a D, G, F sharp, open A. And with the bow, that's down, up, up, down. And then we're going to play those the same little pickup section again, but with different notes. So this time we're going to do a G, A, B. So G on the D string. So see how I'm having to start on my up bow because it's 3 notes there. So I'll play you what we have so far because this might seem a little bit confusing. So we've just ended the A part. And then we're going to do those 3 little pickup notes. And and then we're going right into the next part. So let's try that again. Sorry, my shoulder rest is wiggling around. So let's start from, this is the end of the A part, and we're going to do A, B, C, G, A, B. And then the next part is, we'll just go into the next part because that first part will make a lot more sense if we got a little bit more of the tune going here. We could do a bit more of a phrase. So the next part is, so that is a C, second finger, low 2 on the A string, open E, and then D, third finger on the A string, and then a long B. So we have a first finger on the A string. So that's C, E, D, B. And then I'm doing the same bowing there, down, up, down. So starting from the top of the B, let's start just from those pickup notes. So let's try that. So do you see what I did there? I'm kind of getting into the next phrase. Just adding a couple of little B pickup notes in there. And this is in, a substitute for just doing one big long note, which might actually feel a little bit awkward in the moment. So sometimes if you have a long note, you can just add some rhythm to it. And so that's all that is right there. So let's try that again. So starting from the A, B, C. So do you see how I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and. Those long notes are only hard because if you forget to count, you're stuck out in the middle of outer space. So the next phrase is B, A, B, C. Nice and easy. So that's all on the A string. That's first finger, open, first finger, second finger. And I'm doing that same down, up, down. And again, you don't have to do all of these if you don't want to do it the same every time. But this is just kind of like, I kind of like to start a little bow, rhythmic motif with my bow and kind of keep going with it until it reaches the point where it's now boring and needs to get changed. But I feel like this kind of gives it a nice sweeping feel. So the next phrase is B, A, B, C, B, C, D. So that's a little 1, 2, 3 right there on my A string. That's first finger, low 2, and third finger. So that's B, A, D, B, C, D. I can say the alphabet. So this phrase is. And then the last phrase, here we are right at the end, is we're going to go, I would try a fourth finger here, but if you're too scared, just do your open E. But I definitely think you should try a fourth finger if you're feeling brave. So let's do a little fourth finger. So this is an E again. Same note as your open E string. You could do your open E string if you want to. But I think it's time to add a little fourth finger. So add a fourth finger here. Now that's really hard to do. So don't beat yourself up if that just feels awful. Because that is working some muscles that we have not worked yet before. So I think we've done a fourth finger before, but if we haven't, let's go over it again. So, or if you jumped ahead in the tunes. So your fourth finger is going to be a whole inch above your third finger. And as you can see, even with mine, it's hard to get it perfectly arched. You do actually want it to be in a nice arch here. You don't want to collapse your finger, but it happens. So when it does happen, you want to make sure that your palm is situated very close to the fingerboard. So, and very close to the neck here. So if you're struggling to reach, or if your finger is collapsing, know that it doesn't have to do necessarily with the strength of your pinky. I mean, it kind of does, but not really. It's really mostly to do with the position of your hand. So if your hand is in a better position, then you're much more likely to be able to hold that strong and build up the muscle that you actually need to keep that in place. Also know that your finger, the muscle that you're really using is actually down here. So if this muscle right here is bulging out, then that means that you're in the right spot. That's actually your pinky muscle is actually right down here. The muscles in your actual finger aren't enough to hold your finger like that. So you need some help. So, okay, so the last phrase is fourth finger, third finger on the A string, and then we're gonna hop up and over to the D string. So I'm gonna hop my third finger from the A string to the D string, and play the G on the D string. So that is fourth finger on the A, third finger on the A, and then hop over and play your third finger on the D string. And then the last note is a first finger on the A string, that's a B. So we have fourth finger, third finger, hopped over. And then first finger on the A string. And those notes are E, D, and then G, B. And you can do that same bow pattern if you want, down, up, down. So let's try that again. All right, so we've almost made it through the whole B part here. We just have literally one more note to learn. But I want to make sure we go over this whole first ending here. So we're going to start with our... So we're going to take this really slow. A, B, C, D. And then here we're going to the next phrase, starting on a G. And then we go B, A, B, C. And then 1, 2, 3. And here's our fourth finger pass. Woo! Did you make it through all of that? All right, let's try that all together really slow. So there you go. Let's try that one more time a little bit faster. This is one of those passages that's actually a lot easier to sing and get the hang of. So if you feel like you're struggling with not knowing where you're going next in this part, I would take some time to just listen to it and make sure you can listen, because it is a little bit skippy, and that makes it harder to remember what goes where. So let's start from the top again. Ringing off the open D there. If you want to do that, I would highly recommend trying a couple of double stops while you're Still in the beginning phase. It's never too early. So I surprised myself by accidentally doing a fourth finger earlier in the phrase. So you can do that or not do that. That's totally up to you what you want to do there. Alrighty, so let's try the whole thing, and then I'll show you where we go at the end. So we're gonna play. So do you see how I have that fourth finger, third finger, first finger thing at the end? We're going to do just 2 notes different at the end. So the last ending is going to sound like this. So that's fourth finger on the A string, third finger on the A string, and then instead of hopping over my third finger, I'm just going to reach over my second finger and do a high 2. That's an F sharp on the D string. And then third finger on the D string is G. So that's fourth finger, third finger, second finger, third finger. So that's fourth finger starting on the A string, and then third finger. Skip down to the D string for the second finger, and then third finger. So the end of the second time through the B part is going to sound like this. Okay, do you think we can make it through the whole B part? I think so. We'll take it nice and slow. So we'll start from the, and we'll do the whole thing twice through. The first ending is, and the second ending is. Okay, good luck. Let's try it. Okay, does that make sense now? I hope you got the pickups there. So pickups are really weird. Pickups have more to do with where you're going than where you've come from. So the first ending we have, and then we're going to go back into the B part again. So we need to do that A, B, C. And then if you're ending the tune, ending the tune at the very end, then you can just stay on that G. But if you're going to go back into the A part, you would play. So it sounds like. So in Celtic music, we tend to repeat tunes at least twice, and a tune like this you would probably play 3 or 4 times. So you're definitely going to do that a few times. So let's try the whole tune now. Let's start from the very top. So the top of the tune sounds like this. Okay, so let's try all of that together. And so the B part is. Okay, let's start from the top. we are. So if you were going to play this tune a little bit faster, you would just take it up a little clip. And this tune isn't going to go wildly fast. It actually feels really comfortable at its regular speed. It's just going to go at a little bit of a fast waltz tempo. So that's not too bad. I mean, you could get there at beginner level for sure. You know, just kind of like step on the gas a little bit. Make your movements smaller and step on the gas, and that's how you get there. There's a video in the technique section on playing faster where I talk at length about making everything really tiny. So in terms of the ornamentation, lots of double stops is good. I mean, there's not a ton of double stopping normally in Irish music. It tends to be a little bit more single notes. But of course I play double stops everywhere, so you're going to hear a lot of it from me. But you know, for a tune like this, you would put a lot of double stops in it. So it's not just me. It's just a very easy thing to do on this tune. So you'd start off ringing the G string on the bottom. So I'm ringing the G and the D string there. And then so that's G and D. That's not really rocket science. And then you would do the same thing in the B part. Ring that E very much unless you're playing the melody on it. So I'll show you how you do that really slowly. I'm just ringing the D string because the E, you know, ringing that E with the A. Do you see how that just doesn't work? And so, you know, if you accidentally hit a double stop that doesn't work, you will hear it and it'll feel weird. And so, yeah, just use your instincts there. So I'm just going to hit the D when it's appropriate. Now, if you really want to get fancy, you could play your G and D together here. And then go down to the F sharp. So you have a G chord here. And then you have a D chord. So that's just me playing my top two strings together. So do you see how I did that? I got a nice fourth finger on my A string with an open D. Kind of like it has a certain ring to it. And then when I'm hitting that G, I'm going down all the way to grabbing that double stop on the G on the bottom. And then as far as ornamentation goes, I'm just adding a little trill here and there, nothing fancy. So just hammering onto that. There's a little neighbor note there, a little passing note. So that a little trill. Just a little trill. So that's just a trill at the top. Just little trills here and there, and you know, you don't even need to do exactly what I'm doing. You could just throw them in as you go. And that's a really good way to get your trills down, is to actually just practice peppering them in everywhere and see how they feel in your hand. Well, there it is. So that's Shoe the Donkey. And I didn't actually realize donkeys wore shoes, but of course they do. I just hadn't thought about it before, but I'm not a very equestrian type person, so I don't think about these things. So Shoe the Donkey, you can definitely play this in an Irish session anywhere. If they're going to know mazurka, they're definitely going to know this one. It's definitely a great one for slow sessions as well. They'll definitely have this one in their kit for sure, in their book. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this tune as much as I enjoyed learning it properly to teach it to you. And I will see you in the next video.